Day 4 of the intuition experiment. It's a year where I am giving up being in control and tapping into my own intuition and taking action based on the intuition that's provided to me. So again, the way that I connect is different ways to intuition, but one of the ways that I do it is that I just write down. I have an iPad that I can write in on a notepad, and I literally just write a question and then let the answer kind of flow out automatically. So today, the question that I asked was, what's something that I can add to my life or stop doing that will help me significantly? And what came out was, stop resisting. Stop resisting. In other words, just go with the flow and don't allow resistance to control everything. And I'll give you an example. If I have negative thought that comes up, rather than resist it and try to push it away and get angry and say, why am I feeling angry? Don't resist the thought. Allow it to be there. Just welcome it almost and say, okay, I see that's that negative thought. I'm not going to connect to it. I'm not going to be controlled by it. I'm just going to allow it to be. And then naturally, it'll dissipate and go off on its own. The other choice that I have in the matter is I can resist, right? I can resist and attach to that negativity. And I can say, oh, why am I being so negative? I'm trying to stop. And every time I start getting more negative. And what do? When I resist what is that negative thought that's there, I end up getting more and more negative and feeling worse and worse. So the key is, it's okay to have the negative thought that pops up or some event in your life or my life that I don't really want at the moment. And it's being presented to me for a reason and purpose. Now, I may not know what that is right at the moment. However, what I do know is that if I resist it and try to push it away and try to make it end and try to have it stop, if I'm in a relationship, which I love my relationship, by the way, I'm just using this as an example. But if I'm in a relationship where I'm not really happy and I start resisting and I'm like, why does it always have to be like this? Well, there for sure the relationship isn't going to get better, because the more I focus on all the bad, the more bad is going to come. So the lesson for me today was that intuition said is, hey, don't resist, because again, whatever we resist persists and hangs around. So the more I give in to resisting something, what about a result in your life, right? You're not thrilled with the result. You can resist and get all upset and why is it like that and attach to it. Or you can say, hey, that's the way that it is at the moment. And I'm just going to allow it to be. I'm not going to try to push it. I'm not going to try to fight it. I'm just going to allow it to be. And I'm going to focus on and visualize and take action on the things that I want. So that's it. It's a short one for today. Again, the message was give up resistance. Go with the flow. If we're in a situation and we expect it to be one way. Let's say we go to a party and our expectation is it's going to go this way. And then it doesn't go that way and it goes in a completely different way. Or we expect we're going to meet and talk to one person there and we get talking to a completely different person. Don't resist it. Go with the flow. There's a reason and purpose that person's being presented in our lives. We may not know right away, but one thing for sure is if we resist it and say, I don't want to talk to this person, forget it, or I'm not paying attention to what that person's saying, then what am I doing? I'm resisting, and I may miss out on some very important information that I need to hear. Because if I wasn't supposed to be hearing that person's message, they wouldn't be speaking to me. But if I resist, I'll miss the message. Sometimes, if there's a higher power, the divine, and we want something in our life, right? Think about this for a second. We want something really bad, and we're like, well, I got to figure out a way to make it happen. And then, we make these plans. We're going to go somewhere, and our plan is to meet these people so that we can get what we want. And then, again, something else comes in the way, and we meet someone else, and they're taking us away from what we thought we should be dealing with, like the way that we thought that we should do it. Sometimes the divine has a better path for us, and sometimes just paying attention to that path and to that guidance is all we really need to do. However, if we resist it, if we try to push it away, if we try to control things, we may be missing out on that very thing that we needed to hear. Last story, and I love this story, and I was just talking to someone else about it a little bit earlier. We say to God, please, God, or the divine, or the higher power, whatever you call it, that higher source, help me out in this situation. And there's this story of this guy, and I love it, and you may have heard it or not. The guy is in a flood, and the water is starting to come up to his knees, and then it's up to his chest, and a boat comes by, and the boat says, hey, the guy in the boat says, hey, jump on, I'll take you to safety. And he says, no, I'm waiting for God. God is going to save me. And then the water rises up, and now it's up to his chin, and he decides to get on the roof. And he's standing on the roof of the house, and the water is raised up almost to the roof. And a helicopter flies by, and they drop a ladder. He says, grab the ladder, grab the ladder. He says, no, I'm good. I'm waiting. God is going to save me. So the guy ends up drowning in the flood. And when he goes up and he sees God, he says to God, I don't understand. I asked and I trusted in you, and I trusted that you were going to save me. And then I died in the flood. Why didn't you save me? And God says, well, I sent you a boat and I sent you a helicopter, but you chose not to get on it. And the whole point to that story is that many times in our own mind, we think that we're going to go this direction to get what we want. But then suddenly something else takes us in a different direction, and we have a choice at that point. And the choice is, do we resist it and say, no, I got to go down this path, or do we say, hey, maybe there's a higher power involved saying that we need to pay attention to this right now, because there's some message in it that we need to hear or see or take in, otherwise it wouldn't be there for us. So again, everything happens for a reason or purpose, and not resisting that could be an answer to get us where we need to go in a much faster clip. So this went a lot longer than I thought it was going to go, because I'm just actually coming from intuition now. I have nothing written out, nothing planned. It's just coming through me. So that's it. I hope there was learning in it. And again, the reason that I'm creating these videos is so that I'll have a year's worth of videos to look back on to see, well, how did, in listening to the intuition, how did that help? What did I learn? How did I grow? Well, I'll have a whole track record to look back over the year to see, did this really help me, and how did it? And it either will be, no, it didn't, or wow, that was an amazing journey. And I'm guessing that it's going to be, wow, that was an amazing journey. But we'll see. And we have it documented, so we'll know in a year from now. And that's it. So have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining.